Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And y'all, it's getting really sad out here. These immigrants, they're really pathetic. They really are pathetic. They have bought into a narrative about Black Americans, and they are doing all they can to make those narratives true. They have come to this country and been called everything by the president and other white people. Remember the Somalis when the president of the United States got on TV and called them garbage and called their country garbage and said they didn't have a country. They were just killing each other and basically saying they were not even civilized. But who do you think they're turning their anger on? Black Americans. And now the Haitians. Black Americans do not write the immigration policy of the United States. Black Americans don't decide who's going to come here and who's going to go. Yet and still, when the TPS program ended for Haitians, they turned their anger on Black Americans. They're all over social media making videos about us, talking about how lazy we are, how dumb we are, how stupid we are, how we're all on welfare, how we're all on food stamps, and how Donald Trump should kick all of us out. And that's what they want him to do, just like Donald Trump is going to do what they want him to do. What Donald Trump wants from them is for them to get out of this country, and that's it. But you know what? These people are speaking from trauma, and we are low-hanging fruit. Countries around the world have documented conflicts involving Haitian, Nigerian, and Somali immigrant communities. People from the other African nations, you rarely hear anything about them. They come to the United States or they go to whatever country they're going to and they do what they're going to do, and you rarely hear anything about them. Sometimes countries say, well, they're going to purge their immigrants. They're going to run the immigrants out. And we already know those are usually going to be Black people. But you don't hear anything from those other African people. South Africa is having a moment now because they're running all the immigrants out of their country. I don't know if they're right or wrong, but they say you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. But in America, we become everybody's whipping boy. White people are making these rules, and white people want them out of this country. Apparently, they thought that just because they're not Black Americans, that they had a special place in America, that they had more rights than we have, that we're just another immigrant group. Matter of fact, we're just a slave group. We're the slave faction of the country. And so they have to learn the hard way that we are the foundation of this nation. And we are not going to be deported. And Donald Trump has told them that the 14th Amendment was written for Black Americans. He said that before anything, so they wouldn't have any idea about us being deported. Yet they want us deported. Well, America is run by laws, the Constitution being the main law. And we are in the Constitution, so we're not going anywhere. So coming to the United States and becoming anti-Black and talking about Black Americans and spewing lies about us is not going to save you. When it's time to go, you're going to have to get out of here. And one of the things about us is that we have a history of fighting in America with the laws. Everything that we do as a group is done because of the laws in America, and they don't know that. So please stop thinking that these people are smart, because they're not smart. They think they're smart, but they're not smart. So let's just get it out of our heads that they're smart, because they're not. But our ancestors worked, prayed, died, fought. They prayed for us to have a better day in this country, and we do. Apparently, their ancestors didn't pray for them. Apparently, their ancestors didn't make a good place for them in their country, and thus they're running all over the world looking for somewhere to live. And then they come to the United States, And they think that they can usurp our position. They think that they can take our place. And they can't. You see, America passed two fugitive slave acts, one in 1793 and one in 1850. And the purpose of these slave acts was to keep black people in the system and exploit their labor. So you see, they fought to keep us in this country ever since 1793. And the purpose of those fugitive slave acts was to enact a law so that any enslaved person who ran away from one of those plantations could be brought back by law. And guess what? It was a crime if they ran away to freedom. They were going all up in the north, in the east, all up in Canada, all across the Atlantic into London. They were looking for those black people. Why? Because they were adding value to this country. They were productive. They had made those people rich. So they were desperate to hold on to them. That's what the Civil War was about, trying to hold on to those enslaved people. They can say anything they want to about it. Everybody knows that the Civil War was fought because they were trying to hold on to the enslaved people. Why? Because they were productive. They added value to this country. And all of these people who are running around talking about, I never was a slave, I'm not a slave, I'm not a slave, here in America, they're not adding any value to this country. They are takers, they are freeloaders, and that is why black people should check them. On the other hand, America passed 3 Chinese Exclusion Acts. It passed one main act and then 2 later expansions to strengthen the main act to keep the Chinese out. So this country has passed laws to keep us in. And then in 1868, it passed the 14th Amendment, which secured our rights. And the reason they can't do anything with the 14th Amendment right now in its present state is because this country passed that law to protect our rights, and other people are riding in on our rights and trying to make us feel like the outsiders when really they're the outsiders. Now, the reason black people don't know this is because black people don't know history. We don't know this history the way we should. And so people come here and play in our faces like the Haitians and the Africans and the Arabs and the Indians and the Latinos and anybody else. But this country has always try to keep us in. Now, when they decide they want to deport us and find somewhere for us to go, that's going to be a monumental task, and I want to see it. Now, why am I telling you that? Because even though our ancestors were slaves, they fought to keep them here. And even though the Chinese people were not slaves, they fought to keep them out. You understand? Now, why did they fight to keep our ancestors in? Because they were productive, because they added value to this country, and we still do. And so we've been generous and kind, and we want other black people to come here and enjoy this country with us. But what some of them have done is come here and given us their behind to kiss. So now the white folk are saying, get out of here. Now they want us to fight the white folk. Oh, you just want to be with the white folk. Yeah, you want to be with the white folk. Well, who else are we going to be like? We've been like with the white folk for 400 years. We haven't been with them, and thank God for it. It is possible that we do think more like white people than they do, but they lick white people's behinds more than we do. But when they say that we are trying to be like white people, or we're trying to act like white people, or we're thinking like white people, they're trying to shame us into fighting for them, even though they wouldn't fight for us. And that is a strategy that is not going to work. Why? Because they have showed us they're behind. Now, as Maya Angelou said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time. So we believe that. We believe that they are more like white people than we are. So we're going to let them take their fight to white people, and we're going to sit back and watch. Okay, y'all. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video and have a good day.